on Colonial Sports Center. It is officially Moon Township here tonight on Colonial Sports Center, as here at RMU, two teams will have playoff games, and tonight on our show, we're going to give you all the information you need. Hello, everyone. My name is Casey Irwine, joined by Cam Wickline. And Cam, what an exciting show we have tonight for everyone at home.
This is the edition of Colonial Sports Center, the biggest one of the year. Both teams had the most successful seasons at least since we've been here, both of them in a really long time. It's time for playoffs, and we're going to show you everything you need to know leading up to it tomorrow. Probably
the biggest show we have done here so far, and that's why you've got 45 minutes of Colonial Sports Center tonight, so make sure to stick around till 10:15 tonight for this entire show. But we're not going to get started off with basketball, as you might think. We got a few more things to go over at first camp.
No, there are still other sports in the Colonial world, starting off with some playoff hockey for the men's hockey team. They went over to Colorado Springs to take on Air Force. They were the 10 seed in the Atlantic Hockey America playoffs. Air Force was the 7 seed. Let's take a look at some of those highlights. We're going to pick it up in the first quarter. As I said, RMU is the 10 seed. Air Force is the 7 seed. RMU has had a good year, better than last year, second year back from not existing. And here, Cam Garvey gets the Colonial started early after a loose puck. He finds it, and then Tanner Klimke scores the goal here. 1-0 RMU early in the first.
A scrappy goal, Cam, and just a little bit of a spoiler, that's what's going to be a lot of this game. Whoever can just react first to these goals.
Now here, you're going to see one of the craziest bounces I've seen off of a Will Dawson shot. He ends up getting credit for the goal, but as you're going to see in this replay here, I'm not so sure Gabriel Lunn isn't the one who put it in. Number 8 there falls in the crease. 1-1. RMU and Air Force are tied either way. Now, Mike to Mike, Michael Craig to Michael Felsing for the goal here. Number 29, he just beats the goalie right on the left side, as you see there.
Power play goal for RMU, and what a snipe for Felsing to put the Colonials up top after this.
RMU goes into the first intermission up 2-1, but not for long. Clayton Cosentino makes it 2-2 after Sam Stitz finds him right on the doorstep here. Absolutely nothing Croy Kokendorfer could do on that one.
Right there, another one, just an open breakaway. Colonials getting into penalty trouble, and that's something they've done all season.
Now, Ren Mork finds Will Dawson for a shot. Kokendorfer originally makes the save, and Sam Stitz ends up cleaning it up for the goal. Just another one Kokendorfer really couldn't do much about. His defense didn't do him a lot of favors in this one, and that's why it's 3-2 Air Force at this point.
Again, Cam, just these scrappy type of goals. It's whoever can react first to plays like that.
But Tanner Klimke decides he's going to take matters into his own hands. He scores his second goal of the night, third for the Colonials. He just picks up the loose puck and simply beats the goalie.
Colonials with a couple great shots, and that's what's put them tied in this game from a couple of their star players.
Tied is what they were, and tied is how it would stay. This is 3-3. We're playing extra hockey in this one. But persistence has been the key all game, and Anthony Yu shows you exactly why. He puts it in the back of the net off of a Chris Hedden shot. The celebration is on for Air Force. They end up winning this one 4-3. And the big story of the night was the defense hanging Croy Kokendorfer out to dry. He faced 50 shots in this game, and he had a good game. 46 saves. That should be enough to win your team the game. But it just wasn't. You're bound to let some in when you're facing that many. The defense is what lost the Colonials this one and ultimately ended their season.
50 shots in the game, that's never the formula for a win. But Cam, still a great season overall as this program looks to come back. But a program coming back into just another season is softball, and they have got an award from one of their players this week. Courtney Polich won Horizon League Player of the Week, and she was absolutely electric. Across 6 games last week, she was nearly unstoppable, hitting .538 with 7 total hits, including 4 home runs, 2 doubles, had a program record of 3 home runs and 7 RBIs in a game. She drove in 11 runs, walked 3 times, did not strike out once. She currently ranks first in the Horizon League in batting average, slugging percentage, on-base percentage, OPS, and home runs. So pow from Courtney Polich, you could say, for Player of the Week standing, and because of how hard she's hitting the ball right now.
Yeah, it's no secret. I'm the baseball, softball guy of this group. What they call in the business is raking. She is raking right now. 3 home runs in 1 game, and that's not all she did. She's been electric so far, a reason for the Colonial success.
Yeah, Cam, but another team still is coming back, and they played another game as well.
The men's lacrosse team took on Hobart up at Joe Walton Stadium, and they flat out dominated, as you're going to see right here. 17-7, the Colonials beat the brakes off of the Statesmen. Callum Brennan, 6 goals in this game. David Burr, he's been electric all year, 7 points in this game, 3 goals. Nate Fetcher, though, he was an absolute dog as well in net. 23 goals, 23 saves rather, career high, second highest in program history. He was electric in this one.
Being honest, Cam, though, when is David Burr not electric for this men's lacrosse program, as he has been for these last few years? You're going to see one of the greatest plays I've ever seen from him later in our top 5 plays. And, of course, Callum Brennan, who also has been really good these last couple of weeks in camp, he won something else as well.
Yes, because of how well this team played, they racked up some honors here, as you guys are going to see. Nate Fetcher took home Defensive Player of the Week, and Callum Brennan, well, he was just straight up good enough to be the Player of the Week in the NEC. As we said, Callum Brennan, 6 goals. He's up to 2.4 goals a game. That's good for 5th in the NEC, just outdoing David Burr like we talked about. He's 10th in the NEC. Nate Fetcher, though, he, in my opinion, was the story of this week. 23 saves, second most in program history. He's up to a 57% save percentage. That's good for 2nd in the NEC. And don't forget, David Burr and Elijah Edwards also named NEC Prime Performers. So 2 big awards, 2 smaller ones, 4 in total for this Colonials team.
Fetcher able to fetch them before they go into the back of the net, and he gets an incredible performance, an incredible award here in the NEC. Now going over to women's lacrosse, they won their first game of the season against Duquesne, but now have lost their last 4 since. But then they saw the Ohio State Buckeyes visit here at the Joe Walton Stadium, and they looked for a huge upset to get their season back on track. So let's see if this women's lacrosse team can get their first win ever against Ohio State. But you can see right here, just couldn't get it together. 15-5 loss against the number 20 team in the nation. RMU was only down 6-3 at half, but then Ohio State had 8 unanswered goals, and that really just took this game away. RMU had 7 penalties in the game, and 5 of them were in that scoreless stretch. Colonials only forced 3 saves all game, and so overall just could not find their footing in this game. They'll be back in action this Saturday in Kentucky to play Bellarmine.
Yeah, RMU playing a bigger school like Ohio State. Not something you're necessarily expecting, but not something you're totally surprised about. I still think they're going to dominate in conference play when it comes.
That is for sure, Cam. But now, when we come back, it is that time. We're going to talk about women's basketball up first, as their game is first this Thursday at 4:30 against Northern Kentucky. See you right after this on Colonial Sports Center.
Do you want to meet a family with a transgender kid? Here we are. Max loves to do backflips. Max loves to play his ukulele. Max loves to just be a kid and just be himself. When I found out I was pregnant, all I really wanted was a happy, healthy, whole child. And that's what I got. I think it's really important for people to know that trans kids don't have a political agenda. They are just kids. Like any parent, we love our kids unconditionally, and we will never stop fighting for them. Stand with us. Protect our families.
Wait! Not in the toilet!
No, don't do that. No.
Don't hit your brother! Oh!
Not again.
What did I tell you about playing in the mud?
Raffy, not so close to the pool. Wait!
Frankie, happy. What are you doing? We told you never to touch the gun!
I'm sorry, I didn't think it was that big of a deal.
You could have hurt yourself!
Safely store your guns, unload, lock, and away from ammo.
Hello and welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. As we told you when we opened the show, it's basketball time in Hoop Township, playoff basketball. Case, we're starting with the women's team. What do we got?
Women's basketball team's Moonball, as Coach McCabe would say, plays against Northern Kentucky Norse tomorrow night at 4:30. Let's look at a quick comparison between these two teams who have faced off a couple times this season in the Horizon League. These teams, big rivals. You can see right here the 4th and 5th seed in the Horizon League. They have been back and forth. Both teams have a win against each other this season. RMU winning more recently, however, as this team has been very hot down the stretch. And you can see RMU doesn't average as many points per game as much as the Northern Kentucky Norse. You can see 5-point difference right there, but it's that RMU defense that is so good.
Yeah, the key is the RMU defense of this one. They have to shut down Macy Blevins. She had 18 and 16 in both of these games. She is one of the best scorers in the Horizon League. If the Colonials can shut down Macy Blevins, they can win this game relatively easily, Case.
As they should, and as this team definitely will expect to do. But now, Kim, we want to highlight a couple players who are going to be big in this matchup. Both of the point guards in this one. First for RMU, Jada Lee, who you'll find out from Coach McCabe in a little bit, as we'll hear words from the coach very soon. She says Jada Lee might be the most important player on this team. Her defense has been fantastic. She's a great facilitator for the Colonials. Against Northern Kentucky this season, her 4 steals and 6 assists were her highs for the season. And Maya Meredith also has been great for the Norse as well and had a great game against RMU this season already.
Yeah, Jada Lee, not necessarily someone that's going to stuff the box score, but as Coach McCabe said, she's one of the most important players in this game because of what she does for the team, not necessarily in the box score, but just on the floor as a whole. But one of the things we want to look at is the difference between this RMU team from this year compared to last year. As we know, they were one of the bottom feeders in the Horizon League last year. They fired their coach, hired Chandler McCabe, and it's just been a different ball club so far this year. They finished 6 and 24. They were just simply not very good last year. This year, not the case even a little bit. Look at this list of stats, 2 and 18 in conference. Now they're playing 500 ball. The difference is they were letting up way more points last year, scoring way less points this year. Now those are much closer. Their 3-point percentage has gotten better. And the one thing I really want to look at in this one is the fact that RMU had 5 players averaging over 7 points per game this year compared to just 2 last year. The scoring's much more spread out. The scoring's much more even. This team is just simply a lot better.
Yeah, let's look at a timeline, Cam, because as you say, this team last season really shaky, had 18 losses in a row to finish the season. And as you can see down this timeline here, since Coach McCabe has been brought in by RMU, it has been a complete flip on the head for this women's basketball program. I mean, another person I think definitely deserves a shout out is Coach Eddie Brown. He has been fantastic for the Colonials as well. Talks as much on that sideline as anyone, talking to the players. And definitely, Cam, I know something you want to talk about is that win against Youngstown in Ohio.
That Youngstown State win was the difference in this season. It looked like a lot of the same old that we've seen from the women's team in past years. Just a lot of losing, if you want to be frank. And then they won that game. First time they beat Youngstown in a while. They went 9-3 to end their season after that. That was the turning point of the season. That is what jump-started them into being statistically one of the better teams in the Horizon League, but there's a real argument they've been the best team in the Horizon League since that one.
I mean, you can even see right there where Danny Volotich was out for a little bit during the season. During her absence, they went on that 4-game win streak. So it is really, as Coach McCabe will say, no one is really the best player on the team. And as you say, it is just spread out. And really, there's a threat from anywhere in every game.
And I think that speaks to what Coach McCabe has been able to do. The fact that you lose arguably your best player, depending on who you ask. Danny Volotich at least was the best player for the last couple of years. They lose her, and it doesn't seem to matter. This team goes on a run anyways.
Yeah, whenever she went out, that allowed Maya Murray to gain some experience and become a much better player herself. And now the Colonials have a 2-headed monster that could be a big threat tomorrow night against Northern Kentucky.
Yes, they do. And we're going to hear a little bit more from Coach McCabe right now. Our very own Josh Woodman sat down with her earlier today to get a little bit of a look in to what is in store tomorrow night.
Thank you, Cam and Casey. Obviously, today I'm joined here with head coach Chandler McCabe of the women's basketball team. Coach, thank you for being here and doing this. How's the week been? How busy has it been, and what's this experience been like?
Yeah, we try to just keep it really normal. It's been a lot like the previous weeks of the season. So we've just trying to have some normalcy. We got a lift in. We were practicing during our normal times. Our kids are going to class. So we're just trying to, try to have some consistency. And since the very beginning, since Point Park, we've been saying that our next game is the most important game. And so, that's what it is with Northern Kentucky as well.
And so I do want to take you all the way back to your introductory press conference. You made a couple comments there that may have been seen as long shots at the time. First was your mentioning of keeping talent home. And obviously we saw that in your first recruiting class with the freshmen coming in, but also even in the transfer portal with bringing back Maya Murray and Jada Lee. You also said you were going to be in the conversation for one of the top teams in the Horizon League in year one, something that obviously was, again, taking the Horizon League by storm. So how did you foresee these things, and what was the steps going into that to make sure that was accomplished?
Yeah, it's just a lot of hard work and dedication and never wavering from our standards. I think we shocked a lot of people. We say it all the time. We shocked everybody but the people in the locker room. We fully bought into the things that we wanted to do. If anything, it took a little bit longer than we wanted it to, right? Starting out 1-7 is not how we wanted to start the conference, and we just kept saying it's a matter of when, not if. And so it just, the light finally clicked, and we've kind of been hitting the ground running ever since.
Yeah, and so you mentioned starting 1-7, and you started 5-12 overall. But in those last 12 games, you finished 9-3. You only lost to the teams who finished ahead of you, which is an accomplishment in and of itself. But I'm really kind of curious, starting with that win in Youngstown, which was a historical win in and of itself, what kind of clicked from there on out?
I think, getting Jada back really, really helped. I've said it before, we don't have a best player on our team, but she might be our most important as our point guard and our leader. She's so incredibly, I was just watching a film upstairs, she's so crucial to our defensive side of the ball. I don't think people give her enough credit for that, what she does on that side of the ball. But really the only thing we put a lot of energy and effort into was playing harder. Our slogan for the year has been Moonball, and we didn't think that we were doing that well enough, and we kind of turned the notch up a little bit, and it translated directly into wins.
And you mentioned slogans, and you mentioned the defense. Something I've heard you say throughout the year is how you hang your hat on defense. Absolutely. Where was that really instilled in you, and how did you instill it into this team?
That's a really good question. I joke all the time because I was a terrible defender as a player, but as soon as I got to being a coach, I definitely learned that from my mentor, Vanessa Blair-Lewis. It's what we did at Bethune-Cookman. It's how we won 5 straight championships. It's why she's now the second place team in the A-10 and should be a Power 4 coach.
Looking ahead to the playoff game, there's only 4 players on the current roster who were last here when the women's team hosted a home playoff game, and that was Danny, Simone, Rebecca, and Alejandra. How have you looked to them for any experience or kind of tips on what it is like in a Horizon League tournament?
Yeah, absolutely. Keeping that core nucleus of seniors that had been here longer than I had was really important. They kind of taught me more about Robert Morris than I ever could have known. And even on my interview process, it was how family-oriented this place is, and they continued to say that as well. And so they were able to say, hey, you need to go over to the Nicholson building. And I was like, hey, can you take me? Where is that? So they just have been able to make this process easy in learning Robert Morris, but they are part of the foundation that is set for this program moving forward, and keeping them together was extremely important to me.
And again, looking at the playoff game, obviously playing NKU, you have an opportunity not a lot of coaches get, but love, which is an opportunity to better them over the season. You're tied 1-1 in them, with them, and you get them now here at home in a playoff game with the season on the line. So what has playing those 2 games previously led you to in the lead up to this game, and how excited are you for that chance?
Yeah, in game 1, first of all, Coach Jeff is potentially the best coach in this league. He's really good. He's a great X's and O's guy. He's got a ton of experience. But in our first game, we were able to score with them. This is when we were losing a lot, right? We were up at the half, and they were playing us man. Then they switched and they pressed us and went zone, and that's where we couldn't kind of make the adjustment. And so we knew that was going to be something we had to do in game 2. They went zone, and we were able to respond, and it's why we won.
And finally, looking ahead to tomorrow, it's looking like it's going to be a packed crowd, lots of people here. students included. Do you have a message for them, or how excited are you for that chance to play in front of your home?
Oh yeah, I'm extremely excited. Be loud, be proud. We need you. Set the tone, and we can't wait to see you guys. Go Colonials.
All right, you heard it here first. Be there tomorrow night. I'm going to send it back to Cam and Casey for more.
Thank you, Coach McCabe, and thank you, Josh, for that one. Some great answers by McCabe. Lots of insight into the mindset from this season and going into the game tomorrow.
Yes, there was. Now, when we come back here on Colonial Sports Center, it's men's basketball time. The Horizon League champs, baby. I'm excited. Casey, I know you're excited. I know you're excited, so don't go anywhere here on Colonial Sports Center.
The death of George Floyd, who died in police custody Monday night.
Turning my pain into purpose is pretty much what I have done to start this foundation. It's going to take more than just us, you know, as a foundation. It's going to take the community, the world, to help us make a change, because it just can't be us.
Feel the beat of nature at a park or forest near you. Find a forest and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. Now we're going to go over to the men's side of basketball. They'll play tomorrow night around 8 o'clock after the women's game finishes up, and they'll be playing against 8-seeded Wright State. But first, you got to know about a few players and a coach who took home big awards in the Horizon League, a sweep of awards for the Colonials at the end of the year. We'll start Alvaro Fogueres, Horizon League Player of the Year, as well as all first team, 12 double-doubles, 23 double-figure scoring games, 3-time Horizon League Player of the Week, had a career-high 35 points in a win against Northern Kentucky. He has just been electric all season. Cam, over to you for Andy Toole.
Andy Toole, first time he's been the Horizon League Coach of the Year. Not his first Coach of the Year award, though. He won that in the NEC back in 2014 when they went 14-2 in conference. Andy Toole, everyone knows he's a great coach. It just took him a couple years to get his footing in the Horizon League, and now he's done that to the tune of being the number 22 team in the mid-major in the country.
Now on to Amarion Dickerson, Horizon League Defensive Player of the Year, set a new RMU school record with 8 blocks against Detroit Mercy on February 5th, 5th in the nation with 76 blocks. He has just been absolutely electric. He's recorded 6 games with at least 4 blocks and 23 double-figure scoring games. He has been amazing on the boards.
Now Cam Woods, he was Horizon League all-second team, and if he wasn't injured for a couple games, in my opinion, he would have been first team. Led the Colonials in scoring, second in the Horizon League in assists, second in the Horizon League in assists per game, second in the Horizon League in steals. He was a dog all year. If it wasn't for those few games, we'd be talking about another first-team player for the Colonials.
Now, Cam, let's look into a recap of how this season has gone for the men's team. It has been similar to the women's team, except with a bit more success.
Yeah, the men's team has been electric so far this year. Let's take a look at some of those stats from this year compared to last year. Last year, 10-22, near the bottom of the Horizon League. This year, as I said before break, they won the Horizon League, baby. 15-5 in conference. Went on an absolute run, 13-1 in their last 4. They're scoring more points. They're allowing less points, more rebounds. The 3-point shooting is better. Dogs up and down the lineup. This team has been insane, and Andy Toole is at the helm doing exactly what he knows how to do, win some games.
Yeah, let's look at a timeline for how it has gone for the Colonials. Toole trying to turn this program around. You can see they started off similar to the women's team where they could not really find their footing, but then they go on a 6-game win streak, have that win streak snap to Wright State, who they will be playing tomorrow night, but then they win 7 more games in a row, including winning at Cleveland against Cleveland State, moving to half a game out of the first in the Horizon League. They would go on and capture it. This team has just really, really turned around with all these new faces on the team. They have molded and gelled into one of the best teams RMU has ever seen here.
Yeah, as I said, 13-1 in their last 14. They went 15-5 in conference play, Case. That tells you what they did. They turned it on, and that is the reason they won the conference. It's undebatable. This team's been the best team in the Horizon League this year, especially after that turnaround, and I think they're going to prove it tomorrow night.
13-14 in their last 14 games. Now let's look at the comparison between these two teams. As I said, RMU plays against the one team they have lost to in their last 14 games. That is Wright State, and you can see both these teams have won against each other. Wright State getting the more recent win. RMU first in the Horizon League. Wright State, the 8th seed, were able to get in after a win against IU Indy in the first round. And let's quick look at a buzzer beater that almost happened for Wright State to tie it on that January 12th game where RMU got the win. You can see right here all the way down the court, able to get the catch, and it goes in, but the refs, they would have a look at it after a lapse in the Colonials defense. Did he get the shot off? That answer would end up being no. You can see right here, just could not get it out of his hand. Colonials escaped, so this might be the trap matchup for the Colonials, which definitely has Andy Toole worried.
I can tell you this is the team the Colonials did not want to play. This game tipped off later than the other 2 games in the first round. So the Colonials knew it was between Wright State and IU Indy. IU Indy, who they beat the brakes off of when they played them. And Wright State, who they've played 2 close games with, 75-72 RMU won, 66-64 RMU lost. And in that win, you saw they almost didn't pull it out, almost went to overtime. This is not the team the Colonials wanted to play in the first round.
Yeah, let's look at a comparison between a couple players in this game. A big matchup. It's going to be Fulgaris and Noel, for this one. Alvaro Fulgaris, as we said, Horizon League Player of the Year, but Noel averaging 19 points a game, 7.8 rebounds. If Wright State was doing a bit better, then he would probably have Player of the Year honors with those type of stats. So it's going to be, can the RMU defense shut down Noel? But also, on the other hand, can Wright State shut down Alvaro Fulgaris?
Brandon Noel is, as we just saw, the guy that almost hit the buzzer beater in the game that Wright State played at the event center. He is going to be a problem for the Colonials. They need to shut him down if they want to win this game, Case.
Yeah, it's going to be a big matchup. Packed crowd for tomorrow night, but one of the key players for that game for the Colonials will be the guy who's 4th in scoring for them, and that's Josh Omajafo. And our own our own Josh Woodman sat down with Josh Omajafo for a few words for tomorrow's game.
So you're a transfer from Gannon, but what led you to come here to Robert Morris?
Honestly, I think just the whole community and togetherness of it, and the way everything went on my official visit, I just felt like, this was the place for me, and I think this was a place I could really grow and just flourish, and as you've seen as the year's gone, I think that's something that's happened, and I'm just grateful to be a part of it.
Do you think that was a bet on yourself to go from D2 to D1 as
a
transfer?
Yeah, most definitely. I think a lot of the time, people who transfer up, a lot of people may not see a lot of success, and a lot of people will say they'll just have bad things to say about, people transferring up. But I think, it definitely was a bet on myself, and I'm glad I took that bet, and I'm glad I ended up here with the success that the school's been having.
Do you believe that there's a big difference between the jump between D2 and D1?
I think there's just a major gap in competitiveness and skill and physicality, and I think that was something that I definitely adjusted to over the course of the time being here.
And what kind of coach is Coach Toole been? I know he's been here a long time, but this is your first year playing under him. What kind of coach is he to you and also to the entire team?
Honestly, I think Coach Toole has done a great job overall this whole year, just with his mentorship and constructive criticism. I think he tries to get his message across to guys, as clearly as possible, and I think he does it in a way that he wants us to be great and just us to be better overall. So I think he's done a great job all year. So.
And then obviously, he won Coach of the Year, but also there's a lot of other people that won, like Player of the Year, Alvaro, obviously, Dickerson, Defensive Player of the Week. What is it like to play under or play with this type of players?
I think it's great, you know, especially like going up against them every single day in practice. Like our practices are like really competitive, you know, they get a little heated at times, but I think that's what makes us so tough, and that's what, you know, just brings us together when we all play together on the court. So it's just great playing against guys like that every single day.
And what is like the locker room been like? Obviously, you guys have been successful in the latter half of the year, but how does the team gelled, especially since the beginning of the year when you guys struggled a little bit?
I think over the course of the year, you know, I just think guys have got closer, and I think the locker room, like right now, like we're closer than ever, especially like when you're around a bunch of winners, and like those are the guys who you get up early with, grind with all day. So like everybody sees what goes into the success, and I think like once you see that, it's like the chemistry is just unmatched.
And to you personally, how's it? Obviously, you've gotten better over the course of the year. You just won Player of the Week. What kind of things have you learned throughout the entire year for you personally?
I think just battling adversity and like responding to things like when stuff doesn't go your way, is either like you back down or like you just like hit hard. And I think that's just been a main thing for me and the team the whole year. I think one thing that we've talked about is just like not being complacent. Like whoever we play, whenever we play, we're just gonna play the same style we've played that have ultimately got us to this point. So I think we just gotta go hard every day and just treat every game and practice like it's our last.
And then it's kind of hard to have the mentality ever since you guys just have won, 13 in the last 14. How do you stay locked in as a team, but also you yourself to have one game at a time?
I think it's just the whole mindset of the way they picked us to finish last in the preseason poll. And like if you look in our locker room, we have like a bunch of posters everywhere of like all the tweets and like the media and like all the criticism we've gotten basically before the year started, saying we'd be last and that, you know, we haven't really done anything. So I think that's just been the motto the whole year, just to stay the course and just continue to prove the critics wrong.
Then I guess leading up to that, how does it feel to actually be the 1 seed, have a home court advantage, have that bye? How does it feel to have that number 1 next to your guys' name?
I think it feels great ultimately. I mean, I think we got a lot more to give on it, honestly, and a lot more to accomplish. But I think it's a good start. You know, we have a home game doubleheader at that. And I think it's just going to be great for not only our school, but for the community as well, you know, for all the Bobby Mill fans. So looking forward to that.
What would you like to say to the fans in the Moon Township area?
I would just say, you know, just pack the house Thursday and just get your popcorn ready.
What are they getting the popcorn ready for?
The show. It's going to be a show on Thursday.
Thanks, Josh, and thanks, Michael Deemer, for that one. Kim, what do we got coming up next?
The basketball is not done. When we get back, we have Amir Keasley giving us the insight on these matchups, so don't go anywhere here on Colonial Sports Center.
If you love them enough to suck the snot out of their nose at 4 a.m., then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Today, we face an unprecedented crisis. Tens of millions of refugees have been forced from their homes. But you can make a difference. Turn disruption and despair to hope and opportunity. Even small amounts make a big difference. Provide shelter, support, or jobs in your community. The more we understand, the greater sense of belonging we create. Act now. Visit supportcrisisrelief.org.
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
Families don't have to talk about everything, but they should talk about how to plan for an emergency. Get tips and resources to make your family's emergency plan.
Welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. We're going to keep hitting on these basketball teams as what a time it is to be in Hoop Township. Cam, Who are we throwing it over to right now?
We are throwing it over to Melina Kniff, sitting down with Amir Keesley to tell us a little bit more about the basketball teams. Guys, take it away.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Amir. Of course, the men's and women's are facing off at a doubleheader tomorrow for the Heisman League quarterfinals. Starting off with the RMU women's team, they have a few days of rest as they had a bye this time with Northern Kentucky. The teams have known their opponent for a week, and RMU has faced the Norse twice this season, both teams winning on their own home courts. Amir, with the path that RMU could potentially take to beat Northern Kentucky tomorrow night as the 4th seed.
Well, first of all, they need to take care of business against Northern Kentucky. That is the first thing that they need to take care of. And that's when we start getting into the hypothetical situations. See, if they beat Northern Kentucky right here, they will be facing either Oakland or Green Bay, which it'll be Green Bay because they have been a force to be reckoned with this season. And once they get to that step, it'll be a little bit tricky since Green Bay has destroyed them this season. Sorry to say that, but it's true. So we'll see what happens in that round. And down here, we got Milwaukee and Detroit Mercy. That should be a pretty good game, but it looks like Milwaukee will also take that. If you go all the way down to the bottom, they have Purdue Fort Wayne, which the Colonials had a close game with earlier this season, which seemed to be pretty interesting as well. So, Melina, it should be pretty interesting to see what we do here.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what RMU does tomorrow. It's going to be electric. I know that the team's excited to have all the fans there. Switching over to the men's team, though, they also had a rest, prepare for their matchup against Wright State. Wright State matched up against IU Indy yesterday and came out on top to travel here to Moon Township. RMU faced Wright State twice as well this season, and same as the women's, they both dominated on their own home courts. Both games were close and only a few points differentiating between who won. Amir, as the 1st seed, what is the potential path that RMU could take to come out with a victory tomorrow?
First of all, once again, they got to take care of business against Wright State. Wright State has given the Colonials their number over the last few years. The record all time is 10-2 in favor of Wright State, and they need to get it together in this game since the last 2 games are pretty close. Now here, RMU, if they win, they will be playing the lowest seed. So they will be playing the winner of Youngstown or Purdue Fort Wayne. But say there's an upset in either of these games down here, they will be playing the lowest seed. So it could potentially be Oakland or Northern Kentucky, but we don't know if we're going to get that far yet, so we will see how the games play out this week.
Yeah, looking ahead, the RMU men's team were ranked 9th in their Horizon League at the beginning of the season, and now they're favored to win the Horizon League tournament. Amir, say RMU wins it all. We're throwing it all the way there. Where do you see them on Selection Sunday?
Well, first of all, RMU will most likely be the 15th seed if they get picked on Selection Sunday, and that'll tie them up with the 2 seed, which could be Florida, Michigan State, or even Wisconsin. And they will most likely be playing in Cleveland, Ohio, or Newark, New Jersey. Now, here's a quick stat for you guys. So 11 15th seeds have ever pulled off an upset. So in the last few years, we've seen Princeton versus Arizona, Oral Roberts versus Ohio State. And here's another fun fact. Ishmael Platt was a part of that Oral Roberts team who took down Ohio State in 2021. And now, another cool tidbit about RMU basketball. In 2010, they were the 15th seed and Villanova was number 2. And they almost took down Villanova, and they lost by 3 then. So it should be pretty interesting to see what happens, see if the Colonials make history this year.
Yeah, we would love to see that. And that's all for Amir and I. As you all know, the best time of the year, the best time of the day, coming up.
Pop by, please.
Right after this.
Do you want to meet a family with a transgender kid? Here we are. Max loves to do backflips. Max loves to play his ukulele. Max loves to just be a kid and just be himself. When I found out I was pregnant, all I really wanted was a happy, healthy, whole child. And that's what I got. I think it's really important for people to know that trans kids don't have a political agenda. They are just kids. Like any parent, we love our kids unconditionally, and we will never stop fighting for them. Stand with us. Protect our families.
Wait, not in the toilet.
No, don't do that. No.
Don't hit your brother. Ooh.
Not again.
What did I tell you about playing in the mud?
Raffy, not so close to the pool. Wait!
Frankie, Tabby, what are you doing? We told you never to touch the gun!
I'm sorry, I didn't think it was that big of a deal.
You could have hurt yourself!
Safely store your guns, unload, lock, and away from ammo.
Ladies and gentlemen, people of America, Colonial fans everywhere, it is top 5 plays time. I don't want to waste it. Casey, let's get right to it.
Yeah, we have to see this one as we do every week. You all wait for it. We wait for it. It is that time. We're going to hop right into number 5 right here. It's going to be women's basketball we've talked a lot about here. Maya Murray's able to shut that one down. It falls to Noah Gavone. Gavone passes it all the way up the floor to Sabwa. Sabwa is able to get it to go, and she gets a great lay right there for number 5.
Sticking on the hardwood, Danny Voletich is going to show her presence here when she stuffs Micaiah Miller. Danny blocks her. Isis Grady gets the board, finds Noah Gavone. She's a threat, and that leaves Danny open in the paint. Not coast to coast, but shows her dominance on both ends of the floor. Here, you're going to see absolute stuff by Voletich. She's running down the court. She knows, I'm getting this ball, I'm wide open, and the rest is history.
What an absolute beauty of a pass, by the way, by Noah Gavone to find Danny Voletich down there. Now, on to number 3. We're going to go on to some lacrosse right here. It's going to be a pass right on over. That one's going to be good. Liam Keene right through the 5-hole right here as RMU would take a 2-0 lead. What a shot by Keene. You can see, puts it right through the legs. Had the goalie doing the stanky leg almost on that one for our number 3 play.
For our number 2 play of the week, you're going to see it. It's going to look like you're seeing it 3 times in a row. Courtney Pulich crossing home plate for a program record 3 home runs in 1 game. She's murdering the ball at the plate right now. She's one of the best players in the Horizon League. I look forward to watching her all year, but her 3 home runs in 1 game, you can't narrow it down.
You're not seeing those hits because those were murders, and we don't show that here on Colonial Sports Center. Now, on to number 1. It's going to be that guy, David Purr. Oh, my goodness. He didn't even know he scored that one. That was absolutely outrageous. The little spin backhand blind. I mean, that is maybe the greatest lacrosse play I have ever seen, Cam.
Casey, that might be the greatest play we've had on Top 5 Plays all year. And as we know, they've been electric all year, so that's really saying something.
Yeah, with all the plays from basketball and all the much we've talked about basketball, to see that play from lacrosse at number 1, David Burr, the star of the men's lacrosse team, he gets such an electric goal right there.
Yeah, Case, before we get out of here, we still have a little bit more basketball to talk about. Our players to watch in both games. Case, you started off.
We'll start off with the women's game here. I'm going to go first here. We got to look at Jada Lee. As Coach McCabe said, she might be the most important player on the team. She is their leader, absolutely crucial to the defensive side of the ball here. As you said, Cam, she's not going to pack the stat sheet, but she is going to be all over the floor, nitty gritty, and exactly the glue the Colonials needed to keep them together in tough moments.
Now, guys, stick with me here. I know you're thinking, Cam, you're an idiot. Why did you pick Caitlin Chomko as your player to watch? She only averages 4.6 points a game. And I'm here to tell you, she has been on fire recently. 5 threes against Cleveland State, 5 threes against Youngstown State. And it's not necessarily she's going to be the best player on the court, but when she's hot, the team is hot. She has multiple games of 0 points, so she doesn't necessarily go off all the time, but she's a good barometer for how this team is going to play, and that's why I think we need to keep an eye on her.
Yeah, Kim, I mean, I was there at that Youngstown game, and she just looked absolutely electric. Everything was hitting. Whenever she'd get the ball, the entire event center would hold their breath, Cam. So we'll see how she plays tomorrow night. Now, going over to the men's side, Cam, you want to get right into Alvaro Fulgueres, of course.
Alvaro Fulgueres, the octopus, best player in the conference. We said it all year. He should get Horizon League Player of the Year, and he did, and there's a reason for it. The thing I want you guys to pay attention to is, although he's 6'9", he's a big man. He plays the 5 or the 4 for the Colonials, depending on who's out there. He's an elite shooter, 56% from the field, 42% from behind the arc. That's not something you see out of a guy that's 6'9", even in the NBA. So that's what I want to watch in this game, is if he's shooting, the Colonials are going to be hard to beat.
For Colonials, you have to look at DJ Smith. When he is on his game, the Colonials look fierce. In their last home game of the season, it was a pretty close matchup in the first half. DJ Smith had a bunch of turnovers, 0 points. Second half, Colonials storm away. You want to know why? DJ Smith, 15 points in the second half. If he is on his game, then the Colonials will win this game. Now, Kim, it's been a great Colonial Sports Center. Make sure to head out to the event center for the doubleheader tomorrow for playoff basketball. See you all next week here for some wins in Hoop Township.